The other thing I've said over the years, and some of you may have seen this, is I think we've got to understand where the skills of the mature age worker fit. And I've used a variant of the Johari window, my skills window. And there are things I know, and I know them. And that's my confident self. It's an area of free activity. I'm confident about it. I feel I'm competent. It's out in the public domain. I'm happy to talk about it. And if I'm offered RPL, that's what I'm going to put my hand up for RPL. The stuff I know, and I know it. And the reason I come to TAFE is probably because there's stuff I don't know, and again, I know I don't know it. And I'm open to learn at that point. I'll recognise my boundaries, I'll seek training. Sometimes it won't be formal, it could be from a mentor, it could be self-directed, but may well be formal training. But I'll seek out, I'm open to learn. But there's also stuff that I know and I don't know I know. And that's my area of unconscious competency. And that's the stuff that after they've sat in our classes for 3 weeks, 6 weeks or whatever, the pennies start to drop and they say, oh, I did do that, but I called it by another name. I thought it was common sense. I didn't think it was a work-related skill. I had it bundled up with 5 or 6 other things. And of course, there's another square there of things I don't know and I don't know that I don't know them. And that's where I'm dangerous. It's also called the dickhead area of our lives. You know, it's those people that can talk about something and you just don't know where to start correcting them because they don't know what they don't know. And if our RPL processes don't have enough engagement with the learner to pick up on those areas, they won't have credibility with industry and they won't last long. Doing something the wrong way continually doesn't make it turn out right in the end. You know, I've been a 2-finger typist now for 40 years. It's never blossomed into touch typing. I've been very disappointed. But it hasn't. Anyone had that experience? So just because I've done something it gets me by. I write lots of papers. I can write, I can publish, but don't employ me as a typist. But of course, the aim of any RPL process or any learning process is to grow that confident self. And we need sufficient engagement that we get to bring out into the open things that they know but they didn't know they knew, to teach them new things, and to uncover and confront bad practice where things have changed, whatever, and so on. Reframing, extending, codifying, all that. So we need to dare to dream of RPL as more than just collecting and sorting paper, more than just being a gatekeeper, keeping some in, letting others out, and more than just ticking boxes until we can shout, bingo, you've won the prize. It needs to be professional judgment with a plan. If we are to support the learners, well, I call it professional judgment with a plan. And I'll come back to that. Professional judgment. How much do we need to see to know what's in front of us? Now the answer is not very much if we know about our subject. But we do need to know which bits we want to look at and which bits are critical. And as Margaret said, it's not just enough to say they held the hammer right, but we don't, and all, as Berwin said yesterday, all of teaching and all of assessment is a sieve. We don't see it all, but we see the critical aspects and we use our professional judgment informed by good processes and sound tools to make that. There we are, with a plan. You've got to have a sound methodology, a well-defined role for the assessor, and a familiar process for the candidate to engage with. I've been pushing an approach I've called recognising competency, and it's about, and I've seen a lot of the elements of it in some of the projects here, and A couple of people said they plagiarised bits, and that's good luck to you. I'm pleased that it was useful. But the idea of empowering and working with assessors and a strengths-based approach driven by interview and observation with sufficient paper and other evidence that's appropriate has been a methodology that I've talked about for some time. It's about defining people's own goals, helping them demonstrate and discover skills they didn't know they had. I want to talk a bit about empowerment. Empowerment in community services and other areas is often too much talked about as if it's some personal quality that, I come to the sense of myself as a worthwhile and valuable person and I feel empowered to claim what's mine. And empowerment can be that. But to me, empowerment is also about good forms and processes and clear structure. Good structure empowers, knowing what comes next, knowing how long this will take, knowing how much this will cost, knowing what I have to do, what you will do. Don't personalise empowerment either to you as an assessor or to the candidate. Embed it in good, sound processes, because that's also empowering. And so I've always been keen to have a clear step, and whether it's this or others, and again, I'm not going to talk about these steps here today, but have a structured process that you can say, this is where we start, this is how we finish, this is how it runs. And don't just trust your professional judgment. It has to be more than, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Because, as I said earlier, we look at those squares and sometimes our judgment can be distorted. Right? A sound methodology is needed because context can distort perception. Right? Can I be competent in a non-compliant workplace? Or will I look more competent if I'm in a well-run workplace? The guy from the Master Builders Association yesterday was talking about going over to China and assessing. And he was saying that, that again, the OH&S stuff left a lot to be desired. But in talking with them, there was that sense of they knew it wasn't right, but it wasn't their workplace and within their ability to change it. Now, they may still have known what competent practice was. There is a difference between competence and compliance. But context can distort perception. Have a consistent approach. Go back to the competency standards. The competency standards are what determines it, not what you think is good practice, what your RTO packages up as the qualification. It's the packaging allowed by the training package. It's what the competency standards say. Review the descriptors. Moderate your tools. Talk to other people. Don't be afraid to show other people your tools. And moderate your decisions. Again, we've probably all seen that, and you probably know what the answer is. But when you look at it, which line looks the longest? And of course, if I bring out my lines of guidelines, it's apparent that they are both exactly the same. But as soon as I take them away again, we haven't learnt. I still see one as being different to the other. And that's why we need good tools and good processes and the standards as a reference point that support our judgment.